You're watching a classic episode of Bass Pro Shop's Outdoor World Television.
We've known Tracker Pros and Outdoor World co-hosts Keith Kavajecz and Gary Parsons for quite a while now. And in that time, we've learned more about fishing up north than we ever thought possible. Guess that's what happens when you share a tracker with some of the best walleye fishermen to ever set a hook. While we could spend a year covering all the material from these guys, we decided to pick some of our favorite tips and techniques and share them with you. From sunup to sundown, and even after dark, Keith and Gary never stop. So get out your pencils, because we're about to show you where the honey holes are and how to catch them once you get there.
Fish are in here feeding on these shad in the shallow water, Keith, tonight.
Oh, there, I got one, Bruce. I'm going to keep him out of
Many
that water.
walleye anglers head for the docks at sundown.
I got him, yeah.
Look at the nighttime fish here out on Lake Erie.
But Outdoor World host Keith Kavajecz discovered that some of the best fishing on Ohio's giant Lake Erie comes after dark.
Coming right back on that same old
Keith
spot.
joins Bruce DeShano of Offshore Tackle, who's a regular on the night shift out of Huron, Ohio.
Come on, there you go. I'm fishing tonight with my good friend Bruce DeShano. Bruce is also the owner of Offshore Tackle. We're using his little planer boards tonight to catch a bunch of big walleyes. There's a little flat coming out here, and then it drops off into that deep water. With all them bait fish around, the fish really seem to be biting. So we're using a trolling technique here. We're running crankbaits, hopefully going to catch a lot of big fish.
Even though the nights are dark, the water is clear and the fish are near the surface, making the trolling boards a must to get the lures away from the boat.
The neat thing about the system you've got here is this little flashing light. The reason we're using that, of course, is obviously because it's dark out. You just take these little lights and actually combine them right onto the flag here. There's a couple little slots on the flag. You turn the little button on, get her flashing like that, and actually see when the fish bites. We saw as we were driving out the river there tonight how they were breaking the surface.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to choose a stick-style bait like this with a very small lip so that it doesn't dive real deep. In fact, we're only letting it out about 40 to 60 feet to keep it right under the surface.
Put it all together, and it spells big walleye.
He's a good one, Bruce.
And plenty of them, all night long. Staying awake tomorrow may be a problem, but for tonight, the anglers have plenty to keep their eyes wide open.
Whoa, look at him! This is so much fun. Even though the wind's starting to blow, the fish are still biting. In fact, a lot of times it'll make them fish bite better, I think.
Yeah.
There we go. I got him. Another line. That's all right.
The thing with night fishing, tangles are magnified at night. So's the fish size, too, though.
Oh, man. Can you believe the size of the fish that we're catching?
They've all been great fish.
Oh, man. I love it. I love this night fishing. We can do this more often.
I think so.
Let's get this
guy
guy
out
back
of your
in.
way here and we let him loose.
Ooh, he's happy.
Lake Mille Lacs lies roughly 70 miles north of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Due to its close proximity to the big city, it gets its fair share of fishing pressure and is full of educated walleyes. Because of this, many anglers miss out on the great fishing to be had on this lake. But Keith and walleye pro NORB WALLACK have a plan to deal with the finicky Mille Lacs walleyes, and it involves a technique as subtle as the fish they're trying to catch.
The technique that we're using to go after big fish is what's called rigging. And rigging basically uses a walking sinker like this. And what we do is run that walking sinker just ahead of a barrel swivel with a bead here. And what that allows us to do then is run a long leader behind that. Okay, so here's my walking sinker, here's my bead, here's my swivel, and then I can run a long snell behind that. And I'm running about an 8-foot snell. And then on the end of that, we're going to run a very tiny hook and live bait. And I'm running a crawler. NORB's fishing with a leech. But the idea behind this whole rig is to drop that walking sinker down to the bottom, lift it up, run it just above the bottom, and that has that live bait just move along real slowly. And what we're doing is moving along the break, looking for fish marks, and we try and kind of hold real slow right in front of them. And then when they bite it, we just release the line, slides through that sinker, allows them to get the live bait down in their throat, and we simply reel up and set the hook. So rigging is something that we've chosen to do mainly because we're going after big fish. We're going real slow. We're trying to put the presentation right in front of them, and that's hopefully what's going to get the big ones out here.
I got a bite here.
Rigging is a simple but effective tactic that works well where the fish are slow to attack more active baits or lures. Because the line slides freely through the weight, walleyes are not alerted to the pressure when they pick up the bait.
Yep, it is a good one.
All right, back reel?
I'm ready to back reel.
All righty.
There we go.
Oh, nice fish. Good fish. That's a great fish. Here we go. Boy, in this nice clean water, you'll see this one go right straight down. Nice fish. Good one, NORB.
Even with the best gear, however, knowing when to set the hook is an inexact science, as Keith and NORB discover.
See how...
Another miss.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, he came off.
Good fish, and he's... Oh, he came off.
Sneaky Mille-Lacs walleyes. Whoa!
Now that's a bigger fish.
You get him up and I'll get him in.
Guaranteed, huh?
Guaranteed.
Look at that clean water down there. Boy, you can see him, my whole leader down. Here he comes. Get him. Oh, yeah, good one. Boy, that was the weirdest fish because the leech was stopped, I know it was, and he picked it up and he started running, and that's what I felt. I guess I could almost set the hook right away, but I hate to do that. That's a nice fish. Boy, when I first got him, I thought he was going to be a little bit bigger, but he's a nice one.
He's just got good shoulders. That's
yeah.
Fishing is great in spring and fall, continuing into November most years.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
Keith isn't the only one that gets to catch the big ones. Gary Parsons has had his share of good days as well, especially when he headed to Lake Erie for the spring spawn. Gary's joined by walleye angler and guide Mike GWIZDALA. For walleye anglers, landing a 10-pounder is an impossible dream in most waters. But these days, it's not only possible, but probable on the Ohio shore of Lake Erie.
I have never, ever seen this many big fish in the lake. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all.
The anglers use trolling boards to increase their coverage of the water.
Mark, there's one inside board. Inside board. Inside.
Due to the fragile mouths of the walleye, the anglers refrain from setting the hook.
You know, the hardest thing is you just want to reel them in, but you just can't do it. These fish are so heavy, and because of their mouths, they just have that tissue, you know, in between those bony plates and all that hard gristle tissue. But if we get the hooks right in the wrong spot, if you jerk around or if you're, you know, pumping like those guys like to do, all you do is rip holes in their mouth. This is a good fish. All right, I'll get the net. Man, am I glad we moved over to this spot. Okay, I got it. There it is, there it is, there it is. Oh, my. Oh, you did a great job. Look at that fish. That is a good fish. Wow, look how it's hooked. It just took it sideways.
Whoa, another 9-pounder.
Baby. That is a nice one. See, look at that tear. Just exactly what I was talking about. You know, it's a fish of a lifetime for most places.
Like most walleyes caught by pro anglers these days, this walleye goes back to get even bigger.
Well, I think we'll let her go, eh? Okay.
Gary, I got one inside board.
You got one?
Yeah. Oh. I've been catching fish all week, and this is a big one.
I'm going to try to slow the boat down. If it's that heavy.
It is heavy.
We don't want to rip a hole in her mouth. I hope not. I hope it's 8 3/4 pounds.
No way. This is way over that. I can hardly move this fish.
Just about there.
Boy, it's coming.
Back up just a little bit, Mark.
Be careful. Don't lose my fish.
Okay. Now I'm getting serious. You're starting to get me nervous. Put your rod down a little bit more, Mark. I think this wind's really pushing this boat.
After nearly 20 minutes and countless cranks of the handle.
Oh, my God, Mark! Oh, man! Look at that fish, Mark!
Whoa, what a walleye. This one is truly the fish of a lifetime. And it may be here next year, a couple of pounds heavier, waiting for Gary and Mark, or for you.
Last year was the biggest fish probably ever on video. This one's bigger than that. I can't believe it, Mark.
That is the biggest walleye by far I've ever caught. And guess what? I'm going to let it go.
Mark, that fish is over 13 pounds. That fish may be pushing 14.
When all the parts are put together just right, the result is jumbo walleyes.
Lake Erie in April, man.
It was a good day, man. Way to go. Hey, I'll head her over and get the truck. And you can...
Keith and Gary earned their reputations fishing in some of the harshest, most demanding freshwater on Earth. And it's a reputation that's become legend. The path has been long and filled with the challenges and rewards of those who dream big. But for the two men who pursue the moon-eyed water wolves of the North, they wouldn't have it any other way.